There is no doubt that Idaho's education system is not perfect. In fact, we're about as far from perfect as you're going to get. Currently, Idaho is in the bottom 5 of states for their public education system. Our test scores are low, and we just don't have kids going on to college. However, we do have a higher than average percent of students graduating on time. This is, however, not the issue Idaho faces. The amount of students going to college right out of high school is pitiful. Idaho is dead last nationally. Idaho also ranks 46th for kids going to a second year of college. Digging deeper into the issue, we find that Idaho has roughly a 26% college-ready score. This would indicate that about 26% of students are scoring at least 1550 or higher on the SAT model. Idaho, however, has set the goal of 60% of students being college-ready. Compared to a national average, this is very high. Nationally, about 43% of kids are at this mark. Taking these statistics into consideration, we see that Idaho has a very difficult future ahead of them. However, there are options. There are a small yet growing group of schools that are achieving above national average. These schools are the charter schools. Although much opposition is posed against the charter schools, the numbers they post are very good. Being a charter school graduate, I can attest that it's a very good option. Almost 20,000 students are enrolled in the charter schools today. There are 48 schools operating in Idaho as of now. If we use the same basis of college readiness, we see that 7 of the top 10 schools in Idaho are charter schools. In fact, the top 4 schools are Coeur d'Alene Charter Academy, with an astounding 80+% of students being at the 1550 or higher mark for their SATs. Renaissance High School, a charter school based in the West Ada District, with 59% of their students reaching the 1550 mark. My alma mater, Liberty Charter School, with 54% of students reaching the 1550 mark. And Meridian Technical School, with 49% of students reaching the 1550 mark. Looking at the list provided, we can make a few inferences. First of all, charter schools are a huge benefit to students that go there, and most, if not all, charter schools are not basing their admissions based on grades. However, a certain level of complete classes must be maintained to retain your seat due to the high volume of students on the waiting list each year. Secondly, the top 10 schools in Idaho are mainly around urban areas. If you count Coeur d'Alene as an urban, and it is due to the fact that they have a 5A school and a very successful charter school, then 9 of the 10 schools around large cities of people, Moscow is also in the top 10 because they are just a larger city generally. 9 of the 10 schools on the list are around large cities. This allows us to infer that being in an urban area is a benefit to Idaho education. When comparing charter schools to other schools, we see that a vast amount of difference occurs. In a random sample of 5 schools around the state, the schools selected were Nampa, Bora, Lewiston, Weiser, and Valley View, no school ranks higher than 23% of their students considered college ready. In fact, the highest ranking non-charter school in the state, Moscow, only ranks 5th at 49%. Simply put, in the most basic standard of measurement, traditional schools are falling behind. With charter schools taking 7 of the 10 spots on the top 10 list and 7 of the 10 top districts being charter school districts, there is no doubt that charter schools are achieving much more than traditional schools when it comes to education. If I contemplate my own experiences at the charter schools, I can fairly certainly say that these statistics are true. I was able to graduate from Liberty Charter as a college sophomore, and I scored a 1770 on my SAT and also a 29 on my ACT. I truly believe this comes from the education and high standards set by the charter schools. College preparation is emphasized at Liberty and Victory as well, Victory being our sister school. These schools pride themselves on being high-achieving college preparatory schools. Because of this, it should come as no surprise that Liberty is the number 2 district and number 3 school in the state, and Victory nearly cracks the top 10 list for individual schools and is the number 10 district in the state. Although there are some very blatant issues that need to be taken care of in Idaho in their public education system, the charter schools are a very reliable option. They tend to work, and while they can not take everyone, the continued implementation of them will allow for Idaho to progress and advance in the world of education, and I personally believe that Idaho has the ability to raise to be one of the top education schools in the state if we follow the example set by the charter schools and other successful schools around the area.